just a job.
Absolutely. You know, what's culture like?
Yeah.
You know, why do people love working here? Why do people leave? You know, what do you like about the job? What keeps you keeps you excited about it? What are some of the questions you might get?
What's a day in the life of what you guys do every day? You know, a day in the life of an associate. And this also refers back to the videos you guys saw that we made throughout. Hopefully it was informative. But I think that's a good question because you want them to see your version of what you do every day to see if that's something that they would be interested in, or what else would be good. What's your favorite part of this position? What do you like most about it, and why? Are good questions. Just kind of so that they can see your perspective on it, so they can kind of get a view of what it would be like if they were in your position.
The questions that don't work for me, I'd like to hear your opinion as well. When someone says, "So Laura, tell me, what do you like about this job? Where are you from? Where'd you graduate from?" That tells me they don't have a clue. They're just, they've been told they have to ask questions, so they're asking questions. What do you think of the weather outside? You watched the game this weekend? Yeah. What's that got to do with anything?
Yeah.
So if you go in, and kind of on the note of going in with questions written out, go in with kind of a game plan. Having thought out, I want to get these 5 points across, okay? And write them out. And make sure by the end of the interview, you go back and go, hey, I wanted to share these 5 things, and I think I forgot to mention this 5th one. So I want to make sure there's no shame, or there's no, it's not going to, it's not going to, what's that?
Embarrassing.
It's not going to embarrass you. It's not going to derail you to go in with, hey, I want to make sure I got these 5 points across, or I touched on these 5 things. In addition to that, I have 5 questions. Again, to make sure you get across what you want to get across. Go in intentionally with a game plan, rather than just, I'm going to show up and answer questions and, how was the weekend? Okay, peace out. Don't waste your time. But you go in saying, I want to get these 5 points across. My internship at such and such, my degree from U of H, my portfolio that I got. Those are the 3 things I definitely want to make sure I share with them, so they know what I'm about. So write that stuff out ahead of time so you have a game plan. So, any other questions on this? What else?
Can you share some of your experiences between, I guess, a stellar interview versus a not so good one?
Oh, there's plenty of not so good ones.
Yeah.
Those are the fun ones almost.
Oh, me.
But the not so good ones, everyone in the room knows not to do these things, and yet they still happen. Such as someone checking their phone in an interview. It makes sense, right? Who would do that? No one, and yet it happens. Someone texting or showing up late and making an excuse. What happens if you're running late? Call ahead. Hey, Roddy, I'm 10 minutes out. I got caught in traffic. Whatever. I'm going to be there. And call before you're supposed to be there. Not, if you're supposed to be there at 8, call me at 7:45. And, hey, I'm on my way. I overslept. I'll be there at 8:15. I'm good with that. Stuff happens. So when people show at 8:15, go, sorry.
Yeah.
That's, yeah, you're already in the hole. Call ahead. What else?
What if the company that you're interviewing with asks you a question that you don't feel comfortable answering? How do you respond to that? Like there's inappropriate questions that aren't supposed to be asked.
I just say I'm not real comfortable answering that. I'm not comfortable responding to that. If you think of it, what religion are you?
Yeah.
Are you pregnant? Are you like men or women? And that's I don't see how that's relevant to this position. I prefer not to answer that question. What else can I answer for you? Yeah, that's a good point. But not only that, but it's illegal. You can't ask those. Are you pregnant? Are you married? Anything to do with sex, religion, gender, nationality, creed. Where are you from? What kind of name is that? All those things illegal, against the law. So, that's a good question. What's that?
And I was saying, like, when you said what kind of name is that? That's kind of like it's like it
kind of throws you off for a little bit. You're like, it's my name.
It's a last name. What do you mean? Something else, as far as being intentional going into an interview with a game plan, right? How about your resume? How can you make your resume specific to a job?
You can put an objective at the top, saying what you want in a position, and then go for that, like apply for that position at certain companies.
So specifically, hey, I am applying to consolidate. My goal is to help me here. My goal is to gain a position in the leadership development program at Consolidated Graphics and work through the rotation. So make it specific to that company.
Yeah.
You know, and then as you go through the rest of your resume, what's the job about? What's Consolidated, or just again using us as an example, but what's Consolidated Graphics about? What's important to them, having done my research? What in my past job history is going to be relevant to the company? So in other words, curtail your resume to that job. You know, most people just have a generic resume to hand out to everybody. You know, and I can tell you as an employer, we get a ton of generic resumes, and they all kind of look the same. By the way, a resume is not going to get you a job. A resume is not going to get you a job. Personally, as far as I'm concerned, there's not a right or wrong way to do a resume. Well, there's a wrong way. There's not a right way. Okay, there's not one format that it has to be this way. You know, it has to have bullet points here, and there's not a right way. A wrong way is what are some things in your opinion that will warm up? What are some things in try it up here on a resume that'll kick you out of the pile immediately?
Misspellings.
Misspellings. What else? What do you think? Okay.
Too many pages.
Too many pages?
Organization.
No paper? Yeah, that's right.
Yes, that's a good one.
What do you think?
Organization, how it looks like it's actually readable.
Okay, that's legible. The grammar, right? Whether it makes sense. I've read resumes and they're all, you know, crazy and they don't make any sense. And you read them, you're like, what's that supposed to say?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, have someone proofread it for you. Give it to your buddy and say, hey, read this, and does it make sense? So a resume can keep you out of the interview process, but the resume alone is not going to get you a job. Okay? The format itself, as far as I'm concerned, as far as Consolidated Graphics is concerned, the format is not that important. For me, a resume gets your foot in the door. After that, it's the interview. Okay? The interview is going to get you the job. A resume will get you in the door. Any questions on any of that?
What would you consider too many pages? That's dependent on content, how much you know, how much.
Resumes, because we get so many, and most employers, 1 page is what you want to keep it to. 2 pages at a max.
That's pushing it.
2 pages is pushing it, because you got to think, this semester's not over. Last spring, spring's our big semester, we did over 1,000 interviews. And to get to that 1,000 interviews, we saw several thousand people, resumes come across our desk. And so we look at them quickly. GPA, what are some of the highlights? Yeah, we want bullet points. What are some of the extracurriculars? Some of those kind of things. Great, they're in the good pile.
What is just purely job experience that you've had?
Job experiences are good. I'm a big fan of previous job experience. If I see a candidate who is, done a good job in school, but also has worked a job and maybe is involved in some extracurriculars like this organization, that tells me they're well balanced. They can do multiple things. They're not one-dimensional. I'd rather hire someone with a 3.0 that worked and was an officer in an organization, and maybe a fraternity or sorority, something like that. I'd rather have that person than someone who's got a 4.0 and is just a bookworm. Someone who's well-rounded is important. So, to your point, how many pages? Try to keep it 1.
It's going to happen for me right now. I've just done too many jobs.
Are they all relevant? Are they all relevant to?
Yes, they're all mostly media, video type work, and so I have to, because they're not full-time, they're one-day jobs, one weekend jobs, maybe a week job. I have to put each one down, almost.
I guess it depends on what you're interviewing what you're interviewing for. If you're interviewing for a job that has something to do with AV or something along those lines, maybe so. But a lot of that can come up in an interview. Yeah. Okay, remember, when I'm looking at resumes, I'm seeing hundreds, thousands of resumes. And it's a quick overview. They meet these couple key